Well, so if we talk about all these different factors. If we're good at all those things and we get a passing grade on each of those things and we get an incentive that looks fantastic, to your earlier point, if we don't have inventory, if we don't have a site, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you can do fantastic. There's okay, great. Well, where are we going to go? If there's nothing available, there's nothing available. Yep. And I don't know if we can overstate kind of how that becomes the bottleneck or the big impediment to growth locally. We're aware of dozens of projects that we've missed out on.
Absolutely.
Because there just wasn't a site. Like projects that were on the menu, like, hey, everything looks great. There's just nowhere to go. Yep. What can and should be the role of economic development in helping? First of all, let's back that up a little bit. When we say inventory or a site, what exactly are we looking for? Like, what are the elements? Is it infrastructure? Is it, proximity to 77? What are the elements of a site that's ready? And then what can and should be the role of local government or economic development in general to help facilitate or work with developers to actually create these sites?
Sure. Yep. Number one challenge right now in York County. Mm-hmm. So sites, let's talk about it. So there's land and dirt. Mm-hmm. And then there's a site. Mm-hmm. And when we say site or property that's ready to go, shovel ready, let's call it, it means it's controlled and available with a set price or range in price. It's properly zoned. It's properly served by utilities with the known capacities to or known upgrades you got to make to get to a certain capacity. It has good accessibility. And proximity to maybe an interstate or a 5-lane highway, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It meets the demands of environmental. It doesn't have any brownfield. Sometimes you can have a brownfield site that we've actually had customers say they're not afraid of a brownfield site, but typically it's greenfield, no brown, no contamination. Yeah. Brownfield means contamination.
Are there still grants or any other ways to offset the cost of remediating those brownfields?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And sometimes some federal programs give a bigger federal incentive if a company says they're going to go in and reclaim a brownfield industrial site. Mm-hmm. Think more like the Rust Belt in Northeast where there's been historical industrial areas contaminated. Not so much in our case. So the site is ready to go. It's shovel ready. Now, in the case of our market, to be real clear and specific, our market is very blessed in that we've had a private sector market perspective that's driven value. The developers who are in it to make money, they buy or control property. They maybe make some of their own investments in the infrastructure to like roads and utility line extensions, that kind of thing. Then they create the site, they clear it, and then they put up a building. That building is built 9 times out of 10, probably speculatively. That is more of like a warehouse type building characteristic that we've seen in the last probably 5 to 6 years. Mm-hmm. And their model is built to do 2 things. One, lease it. Lease that building and all the buildings in their footprint that they are planning to build. The other that we've seen, this is very important to note, is that once they lease that asset, that building in particular, and get that company in there for, let's say, a 7 to 10 to 12-year lease, they capitalize that asset and they sell it in the market. Mm-hmm. That developer moves on to the next deal. Someone else owns the property. So that's their model. They do it to make money. They do it to, yes, have an impact. I can tell you a lot of those impacts are warehouse-driven in nature. Mm-hmm. That's what absorbs our land. That was what has had an impact. Good or bad, it's had an impact. Where the challenge is, and I stress, land absorption, is we have those guys and gals taking up land that they're not making any more land of in York County.
Yeah, especially with access to infrastructure.
Yeah, so where we have to look at it from a county economic development or county and city economic development perspective is, how do we maybe do it different so that we protect our position of not such a high level of land absorption, We have land development that is either going to happen because of the government initiative to control the land and develop the land, or a public-private partner initiative where we team up on the public side with a private developer that has development agreement in focus that says there will be land only for sale or partially for sale. Some spec built might happen. The utilities will be improved. The roads will be brought in, maybe in phases. There will be a shared cost maybe to that, or the public infrastructure is paid by the public body. Mm-hmm. There is set pricing.
We say public infrastructure, roads, water, sewer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's different ways to approach it. It's either all in on the public side, or a collaborative of public-private. And I say that as a focus and a need right now because we're competing against the private side for slowing the land absorption, and also trying to maximize our potential for what you said is those missed opportunities where a single user wants to buy the land. Remember this too, in an urbanized area here in York County, as we are in Greenville, Spartanburg, Columbia, and other city areas in the state, public side has had to do less in this product development arena than in the past. In the rural area, just go to Chester County, Fairfield County, Lancaster County. The public side has had to do more, if not absolutely all of it, because there's no private sector market.
To incentivize even warehouse or distribution.
Yeah, to go in and play the role as developer. They build a county-owned spec building, develop a park, have to do it all.
Yeah.
And that is the difference.
So it's a blessing and a curse for us is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely.